that Hashem spoke to Moshe and he said, I am Hashem. So what, first of all, they were introduced earlier by the burning bush, right? We know that already. So what is Hashem saying now when he says, Vaydaber, what's the Pasuk saying? Vaydaber Elokim Moshe, Vayem Love, Ani Hashem. That's the whole Pasuk. What's going on here? All right? So the truth is, this Pasuk is really a response to the end of the last week's Parsha. The end of the last week's Parsha, Moshe Rabbeinu, Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu, speak to Paro and tell him we have to get out of Mitzrayim. So Paro gets very upset, and he said just the opposite. Not only are you not getting out of Mitzrayim, I'm making you work even harder. Now you have to make your own bricks, right, et cetera, et cetera. So Moshe complains, and he says, Lama haresa lama zeh. How can you do this thing? Why would you do this? Why would you do this to Jewish people and make things even worse? Lama haresa, why are you making it worse? So Moshe Rabbeinu speaks that way, a very harsh way, to Hashem. All right? Look at on page 36 if you want to see it. Maftir, on Pasuk HaBeis. Hashem, Vayomer, he says, Hashem, lama haresa lama zeh. Lama zeh shaltani, all right? Why have you done this evil to this people? Why did you do this terrible thing? Moshe Rabbeinu really, he goes after Hashem, right? It wasn't really necessarily that he was too strong, all right? We'll see in a second. But he says, things are getting worse. So the Pasuk responds, Vaydaber Elokim El Moshe. Elokim is the attribute of justice, strictness, right? Hashem is the attribute of kindness. Vaydaber Elokim El Moshe. And Hashem said, Hashem Elokim said to Moshe, Ani Hashem. I'm also Hashem. The same Elokim is also Hashem. Right. You saw strictness before, so you say, what Lama Resa? You have to understand that the same Elokim also is the same as Hashem as well. And when you see a strictness, will ultimately bring compassion to. We tend to very often compartmentalize. You do this with your mother and your father. Let's say you want something from your father, but your mother is softer. So you go to your mother, right? You avoid your father, you go to your mother, or the other way around, right? So what Hashem also, there's a Hashem of Elokim, there's Hashem of Hashem. So I need something, I'm only davening to Hashem of Hashem. The Elokim I'm not dealing with. It's a mistake. It's one Hashem. Hashem doesn't change. Hashem is not sometimes strict and sometimes compassionate. That would be a mistake. Because change means what he is now, he wasn't earlier. You can't say that about Hashem. You can't say Hashem is something now that he wasn't earlier. He's constant. So Maral gives a very simple analogy. He says, imagine the sun. The rays of the sun are constant. And they go on the earth. But as the earth rotates, it either gets dark or light. So the sun isn't changing. The earth's position to the sun is changing. So to Hashem's direction to us is constant. We are changing, so either we see his compassion or we see his strictness. But it's one and the same. It's not different things. The same Elokim is the same Hashem. Okay. That's in a very general sense. It does beg the obvious question, which Moshe Rabbeinu is asking, is how can you let bad things happen? And that's a common question that we know was asked later on by Moshe again when he leaves Matan Torah, after he gets a Luchos the second time Yom Kippur. He says, Hodieni derechecha, please show me your ways. And the Gemara explains, that means he's asking, explain to me why tzaddik harala. Explain to me why bad things happen to people. That was Moshe Rabbeinu's question later on. Right? Very similar question over here. So, without addressing it fully, although it's an important question, why do bad things happen to people? So, number one is, what we consider bad may not be bad. It may look bad right now, but really it's for our benefit. You give a child medicine, he thinks he's being punished. It's bitter, it tastes awful. He doesn't realize that's the best thing in the world for him, right? So the very idea of the assessment of something being bad is very short-sighted, it's very limited. That's number one. Number two is that we have a hard time accepting limitations about ourselves. Meaning, we think we can understand everything. So if this looks bad and it doesn't make sense to us, then something's wrong. We have to accept the fact that there are things beyond our understanding. But we have a hard time with that because we don't like accepting limitations. There was a great Hasidic rabbi, the Kutzber Rebbe, once said, I would never want to believe in a God that I could totally understand. If I could totally understand him, what kind of God is he, right? Totally understand him through and through, right? You have to acknowledge that the God's bigger than you. Some of these things that we don't understand. So Aleph Beis is certain things we just don't understand. But beyond that, we could try to understand. How do you understand why bad things happen? So, first of all, I think the Chofetz Chaim is a very simple mashal. He said, a guy walks into shul, and he sees the guy. The guy gives this guy Kohen, this guy Levi, this guy Yisrael, and this guy. So, what are you doing? There's an older Kohen in the room, and Maftir, he gave this young guy. There's a guy who he's much older than him, and this guy is a chassim, and this guy right, and he said, why are you doing all this? So the guy said, slow down. You're a stranger. You just walked in town. You weren't here last week. Last week I gave the older Kohen the Aliyah. This chassim, next week is his Oprah and his chassim giving him the. We come in the middle of things and we ask questions, right? You don't know what happened before, and you don't know what's going to happen afterwards. So very often our questions are just based on what we see in front of us. We may not be aware of what took place beforehand, i.e. by the Dil Gulim, reincarnation. Sometimes the shaman needs to go through a certain process from something that took place in a previous lifetime. And we also don't know what's going to happen later on also. So we ask a kasha, like this guy, what are you doing? Right? We ask the guy, hello, you weren't here last week, you're not going to be here next week. You don't understand? Right? Okay. That's on a very Aleph-based level. But we need to understand also that even if I'm not answering the question, I want to put it in a different perspective. If I asked anybody here, who would want to suffer for one day, really pain, tremendous pain for one day, if you could be guaranteed that you're going to live forever, perfect health lifestyle, perfectly healthy? You're going to suffer one day, but if you do, you'll live for the next 200 years in the pinnacle of health. I think most of us would say, okay, let me have it. For one day it'll be miserable, and then forever, right? Okay. So, I'm not answering the question, but I'm changing the perspective. It's true, we have difficult times in life. But the difficult times in life is like one day in comparison to the eternity of life. Well, after we live this world, we still live forever, called Anashama lives forever with eternity. So let's say we have to go through difficult times now, so that Anashama, for the rest of eternity, experiences bliss. I think we'd all opt for it. We just look now, we say, oh, it's terrible. But this is like one day compared to eternity. All right?
Why would Hashem want to do that? Aren't we part of Hashem?
Yeah.
We are all part of Hashem.
Yes.
Why would Hashem want to?
Okay, good question. Yes.
Hashem, we are part of it.
Okay. So
what did we do that we deserve all of that?
So understand, when bad things happen, more often than not, it's not a punishment. People misread very often. Hashem is punishing you. No, Hashem is challenging you. There's a big difference. Meaning like this, that two things. First of all, we're all creatures of comfort, which means we love our comfort and our comfort zone. If we're comfortable, I guarantee you, if you were sitting down under a beautifully shady tree, and let's say you were not hungry, you're not thirsty, and it was perfect, you wouldn't get up. Why? Everything's perfect. What am I doing, right? We enjoy our comforts. But growth very often involves getting out of your comfort zone. So Kadosh Baruch Hu creates scenarios for us that challenge us, that push us. That, there are people that go through difficult times, but they become such huge people because of what they had to overcome. And that's how Kadosh Baruch Hu designed life. Let's put it this way. If Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted this world to be an amusement world, and it's all about fun and games, Hashem did a miserable job, right? If this is supposed to be Six Flags, this is supposed to be like entertainment all the time, it's not. It absolutely is not. This world is really to grow, be pushed, and be challenged. And sometimes it means overcoming difficulties that really push us. Without those difficulties, we would not be stretched. Part of it is, Hashem wants to develop a sense of faith and trust. Now, trust isn't that easy thing. To trust HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not easy. I find very often people who come from families that were dysfunctional, or they didn't have good relationship with their parents, they have a hard time. They never develop trust with their parents, and therefore they have a hard time transferring that trust to HaKadosh Baruch Hu too. It's not an easy thing. So if you never trusted anybody growing up, you have a hard time trusting Hashem. Also, you're very weary. But ultimately, if a person is raised in a healthy lifestyle, the idea of transferring to Hashem, that doesn't mean you can't. If you're raised in a dysfunctional life, you can't. You can have a healthy trust with Hashem, but it requires a little more effort to make that happen. But understand that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to challenge us, and all these things that push us are there to really make us grow. And we don't grow. It's really, it's overcoming obstacles that really allow us to grow. I want to share with you one interesting idea. That, if you want to talk about the big picture, You know, if there's, I don't know if there's a picture. They took a picture. You see like the needle, you've seen needle point? You know what needle point is, right? So it's a very beautiful picture. You see, I know, a beautiful scene. You see mountains and the sun and the birds flying. Great. You ever look at the back of the needle point? It's a total mess. Right? You see all these yards going over. Right? The back is a mess. Right? Sometimes we're looking at the back of that needle point, and we look like a mess. You have this thing going there, life's going this way, life going that way. We don't see that really what's being developed here is a beautiful picture. Like I said, we're just in the middle of it. But this is all like, from an intellectual perspective, to try to understand. But on an emotional level, it's not satisfying. On an emotional level, I'm still having a hard time. It's difficult. How do I deal with difficult times? Right? So, a great man, I think Rav Soloveitchik once said, a person has to learn how to turn fate into destiny. Whatever your fate is, turn that into destiny. Or, if I want to make it a little simpler, Charlie Brown. You ever see Charlie Brown, the comic strip? Yeah. He said this, and I think it's a famous thing now. When God gives you lemons, you make lemonade. Same thing. Fate into destiny. In other words, I knew somebody growing up that his first 2 children born were born deaf. Not easy. What did he do? He created the first Jewish school for deaf children. He understood that he was more sensitive to this issue, and he could do something about it. Very often, if we go through a traumatic time, if you go through a difficult time, somebody's sick in your family, whatever the case is, and you go through that, you become somebody that's able to advocate for other people. So you have to learn how to take that experience and see how you can turn it around for something good. But in the big picture, you're absolutely right. It looks bad to us. It's much like when you give a kid medicine that tastes bitter, but it's not. So it seems like a bitter medicine, and for a child, and for us that don't understand, it's very bitter. But really, every experience, there's nothing that Kadosh Baruch Hu does that's not for our benefit. V'yedaber Elokim ani Hashem. The same Elokim is Hashem. Having said that, even if intellectually we have to believe that everything Hashem does is for good, are you allowed to feel pain? Are you allowed to feel upset? Are you allowed to feel even anger? The answer is yes. We have something called Shiva. Somebody dies, what do? For 7 days, you express your grief. Right? Why? Everything's for good. The Neshama's in a better place. You should be having a dance. Everyone should be singing, right? Right? They have the Irish, they have a wake, right? Everyone drinks l'chaim, all the, right? Well, why do we sit shiva and cry? Because Hashem says, I recognize it. Even intellectually, you can understand it. Emotion is pain. And you need to deal with that pain, and it's fear. It's okay to validate that pain. So we're in 2 levels. We intellectually might understand why everything's really for good. We might believe that. But emotionally, it's still very painful. Hashem says, no, you're humans. You can express that pain. We have Shiva to express that pain. It's legitimate. We can't do so. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu acknowledges that we're not angels, we're human beings, and therefore we're not robots, and we can feel pain when something seems to be bad. But we have to know deep in a big place that there's nothing really bad. V'yedaber Elokim ani Hashem. Elokim says ani Hashem. So much when you're saying Lam Haresa, the truth of the matter is it's going to be for your benefit. It's going to be actually for your benefit. He didn't see that at the time, but we'll see that in a few moments. Let's go on a little bit.
Was that because it was a prelude to telling Moshe, go to the Kahal, but they won't believe you. So I'm going to tell you, I know that they are not going to believe you, and I have to interfere, and I have to go and get over Paro. You have to destroy Paro. If the Kahal would have believed in Moshe, then there was no reason to say, I am Hashem.
Okay.
I am Elohim.
Right.
But
right, yeah,
it's a prelude to that, isn't it?
Yes. I think it's 100% right. That's very good. That's 100%.
It's,
very good.
It's the same Hashem, but it could be sitting on Kisei Hadin or Kisei Ha.
Yeah, but right,
exactly.
but it's from our perception, right? From our perception, it's right, exactly.
Exactly.
Right, exactly. So let me go a little further. So when Moshe says Lama Haresa, Hashem said, "That's you're not going to Eretz Yisrael." Medrash says, "You said that to me, not going to Eretz Yisrael." But we know there's another reason why Moshe didn't go to Eretz Yisrael. Why didn't he go to Eretz Yisrael? What? What's the other reason?
Hitting the stone.
He hit the stone. Hashem said, "Speak to the stone," and he hit the rock. Right? So which one is it? Is it because he said Lam Hares over here? Why do bad things? Or because he hit the rock? The answer is that one really begets the other. Meaning, Moshe Rabbeinu, when he said Lam Haresa, he did it it was an impulse. He felt such pain for the Jewish people. He said, Hashem, how could you do this? Right? It was like, it was the pain of the moment that made him shout, to cry out, Hashem, how can you do this to our people, right? Hashem said, you know what? I'm not going to hold that against you because I understand. It was an outburst based on the pain of the moment. Well, then Moshe Rabbeinu, you should have filed that away. When Bnei Yisrael complaining about the water, you got so upset at them. Why don't you? You know what? That was a moment thing. There was a momentary lapse on their part also. Why did you get so upset? Because if you would have not, if I'm willing to be mochel you, and understand that, you know what? It was a momentary lapse. But then you should have realized that Bnei Yisrael also was a momentary lapse. So both are true. It's only because Moshe Rabbeinu over there did not forgive the Jewish people. He was upset at them. That's why I can't forgive you for saying Lam Haresa. Had Moshe Rabbeinu reacted differently by the rock, had he said, you know what, Bnei Yisrael, I get it. You're really good people. You're just reacting for the moment. Then Hashem said, I would not have held that against you. Lam Haresa. You follow? Okay. Let me give you one more example of that, and we'll put them both together. Some say that the reason why Bnei Yisrael did not go to Mitzrayim, didn't go to Israel, the generation left Mitzrayim didn't go to Israel, is because they didn't believe Moshe Rabbeinu. When Moshe Rabbeinu came with science, they didn't believe. Right. Yet we know, if I asked you again, in the Chumash, it gives a different reason why Bnei Yisrael couldn't go into Eretz Yisrael. Why? What's the other reason?
Because of the Egel.
Not because of the Egel. No, Hashem forgave me that. What's the other reason? The spies. Remember? Right? When they came back and they spoke Lashon Hara about Eretz Yisrael, and they all started crying. Hashem said, oh yeah, you're crying now? That's not, you're crying for nothing. I'll give you something to cry about. And then they go to Eretz Yisrael. Next generation went, they couldn't go. So which one is it? Is it because, here they didn't believe? Or is it because they didn't believe over there? So I want to back up to something else. Famous, we talked about this once before, but a different thing. Hillel said, right? If not now, I'm sorry, if I'm not for myself, who will be for me? If I'm only myself, when am I? And then he adds, if not now, when?
Right.
Okay. So Hillel teaches us, if not now, when? What does that mean? That means do it now. Because who knows if you'll do it later on. Or don't procrastinate. Don't delay things. Do it. Do I need Hillel to tell me that? My mother tells me that, right? Sweet. Don't do your homework now. When you're a kid, your mother didn't say don't delay. Your mother said don't procrastinate, right? Don't be lazy. Do it now. I need Hillel, a great sage, a Torah Talmud Chacham, to say, let me tell you, if not now, don't delay. Don't be lazy. I need Hillel for that. What's he telling me? He's not telling me don't procrastinate, don't delay. I don't need him for that. He's telling me something else. He's telling me a much deeper idea. People sometimes think an opportunity comes to them. Let's say, whatever opportunity is. Let's say to give stucco. So, I'm not going to do it now, but next time I'll give stucco. Or an opportunity where somebody tests their patience, they get angry. They say, okay, you know what? It was an opportunity for them to really learn how to overcome the anger. I say, no, next time I'll learn better, right? People get an opportunity to study Torah. Why don't you come to a class? I can't come now, but I'll go do it next week. Okay. So we think, I missed this week, I'll make it up next week. It's a mistake. If not now, when means you'll never get this moment again. Never. Meaning, if you were to come to share this week, then you know what? Next week you came, you'd be on a higher level. So next week's learning would be different. If you skip this week and you first start next week, so next week you're starting with step 1, right? In other words, if you come the first week is step 1. So the second week is step 2. But if you skip the first week, the next week only becomes step 1. If not now, when means understand that every moment is an opportunity. Yeah. And if you lose that opportunity, you won't be able to make up that opportunity. You'll have other opportunities, but something's missing. Had Bnei Yisrael been more careful, had they been more trusting of Hashem, when Hashem said, Moshe, I'm going to take you out, they would have developed enough emunah that the next opportunity, when they were tested in the desert, they would say, we trust you. Hashem, if you say we can go to Eretz Yisrael, we'll get into Eretz Yisrael. But because they blew this one, that's why they blew that one. One begot the other. Had they not blown this opportunity to believe in Hashem, then had they developed that emunah on a simple level now, well, then it was tested further in the desert, and they would have said, but it's so hard to get to the soul. The big giants there, they would have said, no, we trust Hashem. Because one development of opportunity would have built on the next opportunity. But because they missed the first, that's why they blew the second. Same thing with Moshe Rabbeinu. He blew the first. Lama Resa, that's why he blew the second. So if not now, when? Is not Hillel teaching me that don't procrastinate. But he's telling me to value time and opportunities because you never get this opportunity again.
This moment never happens again.
Right? The moment.
No.
You got it? Okay. Let's go a little further. Okay. Okay, now the next pasuk, it's going to mention, it says, Va'eira Avraham, El Yisrael Yaakov, Bekel Shakai. I appeared to Avram, Yisrael Yaakov, Bekel Shakai, Ushmi Hashem Odata, but I never gave him my full name of Hashem. There's a famous Rashi that much ink has been spilled, as I say, to answer this Rashi. If you take a look at Rashi, Va'eira. See pasuk Gimel?
Mm-hmm.
What does Rashi say? Look at pasuk Gimel, what does Rashi say?
Let's see.
Huh? What does Rashi say? Pasuk Gimel. Va'eira El Ha'avos. Ever see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes or no? Yes? No?
Yes.
Robbie, you got it?
Be'er Shaddai.
No, but Abraham says El Ha'avos. Right. First Rashi. What is Rashi saying El Ha'avos? The pasuk says Ve'era El Avram Yisrael Yaakov. So Rashi got to tell me that Avram Yisrael El Avos. What is Rashi saying? Right. The pasuk says, and I appeared to Avram Yisrael Yaakov, and Rashi says to the Avos, to the patriarchs. Shkayach. We know who they are. The famous question of Rashi. Famous. What does Rashi want? Some say actually that no, Rashi didn't need to say anything. Either the printer or Rashi was just paraphrasing. He wanted to get to Bekel Shakai. So he said, Ve'er of us Bekel Shakai. First, he was just summarizing Avram Yisrael Yaakov. He wasn't really trying to say anything. He was just, this is all part of the Divrei Mount, this is part of the headline. Ve'er el Havos Bekel Shakai, and then starts the Rashi. El Havos is really still part of the headline. You follow? And Rashi not really saying anything. But that's not the answer we're going to go with. It's debatable if that's the case. So what does Rashi mean? There are many, many explanations. Like I said, many, many answers. I'm going to show you, I think, one, a simple one. And that is like this.
Keep promise.
Huh?
I keep my promise. I do.
Okay, keep my promise. I think it's a little more. Avram and Yaakov are individuals. Avram is Yaakov. Rashi is saying that Hashem is saying they're avos. What does it mean they're avos? We talked about this once before. An av, or we call an av, or a patriarch, or a father, is not just a term of, an arbitrary term. Like we say, George Washington is the father of our country. Doesn't mean he's really the father of our country, but like it's a figurative term. We say, obviously, our fathers. It's not figurative. They're literally our fathers. What does that mean? In a spiritual sense. Just like every one of us, our fathers gave us, they passed on their genes to us. Right? The Avos passed on their spiritual genes to us. They're our fathers. Now, Moshe Rabbeinu is called Moshe Rabbeinu, not Moshe Avinu. Avram is called Avram Avinu, because Moshe is not a father. Moshe can't pass his genes on to us. He's a teacher, like any teacher. If your father passed on genes to you, then as a teacher, I can try to develop those genes, but I can't add to those genes. Moshe Rabbeinu can't add to the genes. He's not a father. Avram Yisrael Yaakov, HaKadosh Baruch Hu created in them the power to pass. If Avram developed kindness, we have his kindness. If Yisrael developed strength, we have his strength. We inherited his strength. And Yaakov truth. So what the pasuk is saying is Ve'eira Ela Avos. But you need to tell the Bnei Yisrael say, how will you get out of here? We have no merits on our own. We don't have any. We're doing nothing. We're not growing spiritually. Yeah, but you're the Avos. You have the Avos inside of you. You have all those spiritual genes. You have tremendous strength and capacity inside. That's going to be developed. So Hashem is trying to reassure them that even if you feel you have nothing, we're doing nothing. Yeah, but you got those genes inside. You have that tremendous talent. And even if it hasn't been developed yet, Hashem says, I have confidence in you. And therefore you should have confidence in yourself that you'll be able to grow because you come from the Avos. So Rashi is paraphrasing. It's not just Avram, Yisrael, Yaakov as individuals, but they're the Avos. And we inherited from the Avos their genes. You follow? And that's why B'nai, so you better believe you can get out. You better believe you'll be able to develop because you come from the Avos. You with me?
We have also Hashem in every...
Yes.
Which is bigger, Hashem or the...
That's true, but that's... the way I would say it is that's much more latent, that's much more hidden. But the Avos is more direct. It's much more direct. Okay, so let's see. So that's a good question. So Va'eira, okay, so let's go on. Pasuk Vav, actually. L'chen arba b'nei Yisrael. Tell b'nei Yisrael, Ani Hashem, v'hotzeisi eschem mitachas sivlos Mitzrayim. I'm going to take you out from the burdens of Mitzrayim. All right, that's a simple explanation. But there's another explanation. Sivlos, I say word is savlonos. To be sovel means to be able to endure. Somebody's right? Right? When you say I can't be sovel, this means I can't endure this. Right? So mitachas sivlos Mitzrayim, I think it says Fasal Cheshvan Mitzrayim, means something else. That the Bnei Yisrael, Hashem said, I have to take you out of Mitzrayim. You know why? Because you're being sovel Mitzrayim. Believe it or not, the Bnei Yisrael were getting used to the discomfort and the terrible place in Mitzrayim. They were getting used to it. So I got to take you out because you're getting used to it already. My mother used to say in Yiddish, was an expression, that a worm thinks, I have a worm that lives in a radish. A worm thinks that the radish is the sweetest place to live. What does the worm know? The only habitat the worm had was this radish. So, it's sweet, right? You get used to it, right? The worm thinks the radish is sweet. So Bnei Yisrael getting used to their matzah. I said, I got to take you out already. If you kolzman that you understand that it's wrong and you're pushing, that's one thing, right? But now that you're getting used to it, I got to get you out. And it goes like this. We said earlier that we have to accept that we have limitations, right? We have limitations. I want to share with you an interesting thing. There's an interesting Gemara. The Gemara says, when does a person get his Yetzer Hara? When does the evil inclination come to a person? So the Gemara says, when the child was born. As soon as the child was born, he gets the Yetzer Hara. By the way, the Yetzer Tov, you only get when? Bar Mitzvah or Bat Mitzvah. So what about all the good things you do till Bar Mitzvah or Bat Mitzvah? That's through chinuch, that's education. Parents, teachers, that's community. But it's not coming from within you. It's coming from externally, someone teaching you a value. But it comes from within when you have the Yetzer Tov. And the Yetzer Tov only happens when Bar Mitzvah. But the Yetzer Hara comes earlier. He gets a head start. He's there as soon as you're born. So Gemara says, when you're born or when you're conceived? Gemara says, no, it has to be when you're born. Gemara says, because if you got the Yetzer Hara when you were conceived, then the Yetzer Hara would want to get out right away. Would kick and scream, get me out of here, get me out of here right away. Kind of strange Gemara. What does that really mean? What's the Gemara saying? That I'll prove to you the Yetzer Hara happens when you're born, not when you conceive, because you had the Yetzer Hara when you were conceived. The Yetzer Hara would want to kick and get out of the womb right away. Now, let's play along with the Gemara. Let me ask you a question. You guys don't remember this probably, but when you were in your mother's womb, it was a pretty good deal. All right? Climate control, you had all the food you wanted, nothing was missing, totally protected. It was great. Maybe they piped in some music there to relax a little bit also, I don't know, but it was very relaxing. The Gemara says, actually, that you could see from one end, there's a candle on top of you, and you can see from one end of the world to the next. You're in a very special place. So why does the answer want to get out? He has a good in there. Why does he want to get out for? Why does he want to get out? What does that mean? You know why? Because he's constricted. I'm confined. The Yetzer Hara never wants to feel confined. I gotta get out. I gotta break out. But it's okay if it doesn't make a difference. I gotta get out. That's what it is. I gotta get out. I gotta get out. I don't want to feel confined. You know, it's an interesting thing. People, well, let's say I run a program in the summertime. I have a retreat, I mentioned in Lake George. It's beautiful, beautiful retreat. Everybody comes there is always traveling. So why? It's beautiful over here. But they come to the end of traveling because they got to get out. Because people have to get out, right? You just can't stay. You don't want to feel confined in any which way. That's human nature. Nobody wants to feel constricted. Nobody wants to feel constricted. That's what it is. Right? I know about you, but I know about me. If I'm walking past a wall that's freshly painted, and there's a sign that says, "Don't touch wet paint," first thing I want to do is, right? Because I have this temptation to touch it. Why? Because it says, "Don't touch." What do you mean, don't touch, right? If you see a sign that says, "Don't walk in the grass," also you feel you have to walk in the grass. And you hold yourself back. And you have to fight for a second. Because nobody wants to feel constricted. That's human nature. Whether it's constriction in terms of what I can or can't do, or think. So as I said earlier, people didn't think. I can't accept restriction that I can't understand Hashem. We don't want to accept restrictions. Human beings don't want to accept the fact there's constriction. Talk about human behavior on a different level. We're going to now go through the whole story of Paro. And It's such a hard thing to understand how Paro doesn't get it, right? One plague after the next, he just doesn't get it. It's so obvious. Hello, Paro, see what's going on over here? Why aren't you waking up to reality? So I want to share with you a couple of insights on human nature. First of all, Paro had a very limited sense of punishment. Like a child. You tell a child, don't eat that cookie from the cookie jar. You have to have supper first. So the kid takes his hand, puts it in the cookie jar, give him a little punch. What does the kid think? Next time I do it, I better not get caught, right? He just thinks the punishment is very limited. Listen, okay, I got punished, but I'll try it tomorrow, because he doesn't learn the lesson from the punishment that you're not supposed to eat unhealthy food before you have a meal. In his mind, I got punished, the punishment's over. I'll try it again. For Paro, it's the same way. Punishment's over, okay, done. He didn't take it to heart to listen what the punishment is saying. Punishment's over, I'm done. But more than that. There's something called Socratic logic from Socrates. I'll give you an example. Socratic logic would be, all men have ears. Okay. I'm a man. Socratic logic. Therefore, I have ears. Right? Do it again. Socratic logic. Right? All men have ears. I'm a man. Therefore, I have ears. That's logic. Let me tell you how I'll call it alcoholic logic. All men have ears. I'm a man. Therefore, I need a drink. And was there a connection? No. That's the point, right? There's no connection. Right? There's no connection. All men have ears. I'm a man. I need a drink. It makes no sense. Exactly right. When you're addicted to something and you want something badly enough, whatever happens before, you convince, oh, that's why I need a drink. Huh? What does that mean? You're right, there's no logic. There is no logic. When you're addicted to something or you want something badly enough, somehow anything that happens, you somehow convince yourself that proves what you want. That's what it is.
What about if he says...
So Paro was addicted to power. Addicted to power. Addicted to power. So no matter what Hashem showed him, therefore I'm entitled to power. Hello, he's hitting you over the head. It doesn't make a difference. It doesn't have to make any sense whatsoever. And if I want to get cute, Paro lived by the Nile River. I also say he was in denial. He was in denial. He refused to see. Paro said, "I'm a god," right? And that's why he didn't have a bathroom in his palace because gods don't go to the bathroom. Moshe Rabbeinu used to meet him by the Nile because he knew that he would relieve himself by the Nile, and Moshe would intercept him there, and Paro would be embarrassed because he's relieving himself over there. Now you think about it. It's rather painful and uncomfortable not to go to the bathroom all day until you have to go to the Nile, right? But Paro did that because I'm a god. I mean, if you think about it, it's scary, right? What a person can do to have the illusion of power. And that's what I'll take your question 1 second. I want to talk about illusion for a moment. The first sign that Moshe Rabbeinu was told was take the stick, turn into a snake, right? And then hold it again, turn back the stick. Moshe Rabbeinu did it, and his stick ate all the other snakes in the Mitzrayim later on, right? Remember that? Okay. What's going on over here? It's not just a magic show. It's not a competition. You do one magic, I do another magic. There's a lesson over here. There's something we call kishuf or magic. Now today, magic is not magic. The magic today is smoke and mirrors. It's sleight of hand. It's what they call misdirection, right? They send you one way, they have you looking there, right? And you look, and they do something over here. So common misdirection. They have you looking this way, boom, right? There's a pretty woman that's standing by the box. Look, the woman, but that's too late, right? They just need you 1 second to misdirection, right? Or the smoke and mirrors, different things, but it's not real kishuf, it's not real magic. But the Torah says there is something called magic. What does that mean? Hashem created free will in the world. So you either can get things through the reality of life, or you can get things through non-reality of life, called kishuf. Kishuf is a fantasy world. It's a world that appears like reality, but it's not. The first fantasy came from the Nachash, the snake. He told Adam and Chava, if you eat from this tree, you'll be like God. Fantasy. Fantasy. And they bought into that fantasy. And very often people buy into fantasy and they confuse it with reality. Paro fantasized, I'm God. To the point where he would be uncomfortable and not go to the bathroom because he had fantasies. And the snake that Moshe Rabbeinu's stick ate up means no, we're going to devour your fantasy. You're living in a fantasy world. But Paro lived in that world of Kishiv. And that world of Kishiv, when you can plug into magic, you can live in a fantasy world. You can deceive yourself. Right? You don't have to live in reality, in a certain sense. And that was, Mitzrayim were known as people that were very well versed in Kishiv. And so their minds could lead them to believe that they could live truly in a fantasy world. And people do. People live in fantasy worlds. And if they don't, we create it for them. You go to Las Vegas, right? I went to Las Vegas. I didn't go to gamble, okay? I went to speak this past summer. They asked me to speak in Las Vegas. So I went there for Shabbos. So we stayed in a hotel there one night because we didn't want to go to the house Thursday night. We got there at 2 o'clock in the morning. We stayed in a hotel. Actually, the hotels are very cheap, you know that, because they want you to gamble. So they charge you like nothing for the room. It's like $90 for the most incredible room. So I'm there one night. So I'm gonna look around. You go, first of all, you cannot go anywhere unless you go through the gambling. You can't get to your rooms unless you pass through the gambling section. You can't go in, you can't go to a bathroom, you can't go in anything. You must, when you go to the gas stations in Las Vegas, you literally have to go through slot machines to get your gas. Everything's like, but the room is genius. It's a room of fantasy. There's no clocks on the wall. No clocks. And there's no sunlight coming in. So you have no clue is it day, is it night, and you just keep going. And the world, and it's all b'chachma. If they create this fantasy world, you don't gamble with money. You gamble with chips. You know why? Because chips is fantasy. It doesn't hurt you. Money, you lose $100. Oh, $100. It's a red color. You know what it is, but you don't know what it is. It takes the sting away. They create this whole fantasy world, and people get into that fantasy world. In fact, the hotel we stayed at, called the Venetian, it copied Venice. So literally in the hotel, I'm not exaggerating, there's a hallway that goes, or a lobby that goes through the entire hotel. There's a canal, and it looks like Venice. And they have these people in these gondolas, and literally you can go from one part of the hotel, you just hop on the gondola, and you sing Italian songs, and you think you're in Venice. It's perfect. It looks exactly like you can create a fantasy world. And that's what they try to do. They create, because if you want to lose money, you better live in a world of fantasy, right? In reality, you want to lose money. But the fantasy world, I think it happen. So we're very good at deceiving ourselves. And Paro used the Koyach HaKishev to live in this fantasy world, that he's a god, and he can defeat God as well. That was a fantasy world. And often we put ourselves, or the Yetzer Hara puts us in this fantasy world. And the biggest proof is, when you want something badly enough, whatever it is, you have a type of something, and you have it, and you want to get this car, this new car, or you want to get this, whatever it is, it's almost every single time it's inevitable. The anticipation to get it is greater than when you finally get it. When you finally get it, okay, but you can't. When you're waiting for it, wow, you have to have it. That's fantasy. I have to have it. So I have it. I'll be the happiest person. I'll be this person. I'll be that person. Right? So you in your mind, before reality sets in, before you buy the car, before you actually have the car, now's the time for fantasy. So you fantasize. If I have this car, whoo! But when you finally get it, that's reality. But we fantasize a lot. The anticipation is fantasy. When you get it, it's reality. And reality doesn't measure up. Or fantasy doesn't measure up to reality. That's the bottom line. But Paro lived in that world. Lived that world of fantasy. Okay. You had a question. I'm sorry, you had a question earlier?
No, the only comment I had was the only way that Paro could basically be shown who he is was by Hashem hitting him somehow. For the first 9 Makot, it wasn't anything personal to him. Everything was, to his people, to other things, to the country, but not to him personally. But when it became personal, suddenly he said, oh, look, now people know that I'm nobody, I'm just like them.
Okay, yes, also true. I'm going to ask one question, though. We're going to go through 7 plagues, 7 makas in this parasha. The Va'eira has the other 3 plagues, right? Boaz has the other 3 plagues. And it seemed like you said, makas Bechoros was the one that was the final blow. Why did Hashem just go to the final blow? Why do you have to have all this lead up? Go to the one you said Paro was affected most by that one. The truth is, and we'll spend more time believing that next week, the makos were as much for Bnei Yisrael as they were for the Mitzrayim. There were lessons for Bnei Yisrael.
True.
There's 2 ways to look at HaKadosh Baruch Hu. 3 ways. There's Hashem, created the world, then he packed out. It's not involved anymore. It's not involved. Aristotle believed that. It's called the prime mover. Hashem created the world, he put it in motion, then he left. Right? Then there's another way of saying, no, Hashem is involved, but he wants to be involved. He can impose himself on this world. So you could see a miracle as HaKadosh Baruch Hu imposing his will on nature. There's a world called nature that runs its course, but Hashem wants, he could overpower nature. That's lesson number 2. But the most important lesson, and that's what took all these makkis, was, it's not pshat. There's a world independent of Hashem, called nature, that Hashem could impose his will on. No, nature is run by Hashem. Everything in the world is all Hashem. Everything in it is Hashem. All the makkis were going to one level after the next to get us to see, not that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was simply, if Hashem would have gone out with the last makkah, final blow, that would say, you know what, Hashem can impose himself on this world. He can impose himself on nature. That's the lesson being lost would have been, it should have been, that no, Hashem is not just imposing himself or superimposing himself on nature, but rather he is nature. That everything is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The same Hashem that makes fire can make fire and water go together. But right? It's a different mahalach. And we're going to next week hopefully go through that. But understand that the makkos were lessons to Bnei Yisrael as much as they were for Israel. And that's why each makkah was necessary. For each was another lesson. If it was just to get power to throw them out, he could have done one blow. Get them out. But the makkos were lessons, one step at a time for Bnei Yisrael. And they could only learn one step at a time.
But Rabbi,
Yes.
Isn't it just the attribute of Hashem, one of them?
What do you
It is. You see, it's like in Bereshit, the first 6 days, there is no mention of Yud Kei Vav Kei.
Only Elokim, right. You only see the Elokim.
Exactly.
Right. But
So that's Elohim is the judgment. It is like cause and effect. It's nature.
Correct.
Everything is Hashem, no
Right.
question about it.
Correct.
But that's only one aspect.
right.
And then then he comes in, his aspect of mercy comes in. So in the Makot, so how can we, I don't know, I don't have an answer, it's just a question at the same time. So he's the Makot, he is showing himself as, when you say everything is Hashem, but is one of his attributes only. Those Makots are for cleansing.
Yes, what's the question? I'm not sure answer the question.
The question is, the way you said that everything is Hashem,
It means it's not that there's a nature that runs the world and then Hashem can impose himself on nature or superimpose. It means Elokim is nature.
sure, it is.
In fact, the gematria of Elokim is Hateva.
Yes.
Right? So that's what I'm saying. That it's not that there's a Teva that runs by itself and then
No.
Hashem. Oh, right, that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Okay? All right, let's end with one last thing. And that is, so Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron go to Paro. It's just, by the way, it's interesting, the tag team of Moshe and Aaron is a very interesting tag team of Moshe and Aaron. It's interesting that Moshe is the lawgiver, right? In that sense, and he's actually Din. We'll see later on that Aaron is really he was a spokesperson, right? Aaron basically was a spokesperson. So Moshe Rabbeinu actually represents Torah Shebiksav, and Aaron represents Torah Shel Peh, and that's really the team of both of them together. Now it's interesting. Moshe Rabbeinu couldn't speak. He was an Aral Sasai. I think we mentioned. I'm not sure we mentioned last week. The reason why he's an Aral Sasai on one simple level was that later on we shouldn't have history revisionists that say, you know, Moshe Rabbeinu was such a smooth talker. He was able to convince Paro to get out. No, he wasn't a smooth talker at all. He was a stutterer. He wasn't a smooth talker. And then I think we also spoke about that. I think we talked about this, right? We talk about the stuttering. We talk about the neck. Maybe talk about. Okay, Maral has a very interesting idea. It's like this. You know, we say in Ashiyah, it's mafli la'asot. Mafli, lashon pella, wonder. The Torah and others say the pella. What is the pella of Adam? Speech. In fact, it says later on in the Chumash says ish kiyafli linda. When a person wants to make a promise, you use pella. Speech is called